Hey, it's Aaron, and today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the side effects that have arisen thanks to this debt crisis that we're all currently living in. And if you want a little bit more about the specifics on the numbers, please check out my video from yesterday. I go into more detail about the specifics, but today I want to talk specifically about college-age students and how this debt crisis is affecting them personally and what they've had to do to cope with it. Now, I'm going to talk about that, and hopefully at the end I'm going to give you a bit of a quote from a movie that I think is appropriate here. Now, it turns out that 2.5 million college-age students have had to resort to prostitution to pay for their student loan debt. Of course, they're not calling it prostitution, they're calling it finding a relationship or seeking an arrangement, finding a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. Now, this is absolutely depressing and extremely disturbing, but it's something that is obvious in our system today because of the incredible stress that we've put people in that category under. Not only are they suffering with incredible student loan debt, somewhere around the tune of $40,000 each, they're also looking at insurmountable credit card debt and all sorts of other expenses that you just didn't have back 20, 30, 40 years ago. So people, specifically students of college age, are suffering immensely because of this. And there's really nothing that they can do about it. So instead of having to pay off all of this student loan and having to do that by getting a job working for a capitalist in a dead-end industry, which is what a lot of millennials are having to do nowadays, they're resorting to something that they see as being slightly less exploitative, which is, like I said, prostitution or finding a sugar daddy. And it turns out that this problem is compounded several times more, considering that investors who used to, before the crash in 2008, invest in something called mortgage-backed securities. You remember the thing that basically ballooned the economy and then set us into a downward spiral that took the entire economic system along with it and put us into a great recession. Yeah, those guys, they are now no longer using mortgage-backed securities, they're using student loan-backed securities, which basically is a perfect investment for them because in that situation, when you have a student loan, you can't default, you can't file for bankruptcy, and you can't ever absolve yourself of that student loan debt. So these investors continue to invest in these securities, and the bubble gets bigger and bigger and bigger and hasn't seen any sign of stopping. And the only people that are really suffering from all of this is the students that have to take out those loans. There's no question that the rich elites in this capitalist system are using it as a casino to get themselves more money, to get themselves more wealth. They don't care about you. This is a big club. You ain't in it. It's not a matter of whether or not you're a human being. It's not a matter of whether or not you deserve to have respect or dignity. You're a commodity to be bought and sold, and you should know that by now. They don't care if you have to prostitute yourself to save up or to pay for your student loan payment. They don't care about that at all. In fact, they want that to happen because at least that way they get to use you as some sort of thing that benefits them, something that can give them sexual gratification or sexual favors rather than being some sort of burden that they're afraid they're going to have to eventually pay for if somebody like Bernie Sanders gets into power. They're never going to treat you as though you're a human being. They're never going to treat you as though you're human. We all know things are bad. They're worse than bad. It's a depression. People are going bankrupt or they're out of work. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers are keeping a gun under the counter while punks are running wild in the streets. We all know that the air is unfit to breathe and the food is unfit to eat, and we sit there watching some newscaster telling us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes as if that's the way it's supposed to be. I don't have to tell you things are bad. They're worse than bad. They're crazy. And everything everywhere is going crazy, and it's like we don't go outside anymore. We just sit inside of our houses while the world around us gets smaller, and we say, please, just leave us alone. But I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I can't tell you to protest. I can't tell you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't even know what to tell you what to write. I don't know what to do about the depression or about the inflation or about the crime in the streets. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to stand up now. You've got to say, I'm a human being, goddammit. My life has value. You've got to say, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore. At least That's the way I look at it. My name is Aaron. If you do get a chance, please check out my Patreon. Every dollar does help fund this show. And get mad as hell. Thanks for watching.